Okay, so we are continuing on with the same worksheet where we are multiplying binomials. Now, at first glance, you may look at this and think, ooh, it's a power because there are parentheses and there is an exponent outside that parentheses. However, the power rule, let me show it to you up here on the power rule, looks like this. And in the power rule, this is a monomial. They don't tell you that specifically, but this is only for a monomial. So as soon as it becomes a binomial, do not do the power rule. Okay, so that's my little tidbit on that. If you see a binomial or a trinomial with an exponent outside of it, do not do the power rule. The power rule only applies to a monomial. So when we see this one, sorry, I'm on the wrong sheet here. So when you see this parentheses with the exponent outside of it, and this is a binomial, more than one piece inside, don't do the power rule. Instead, this whole thing is being raised to the second power. So this is just like saying x plus 3 times x plus 3. Because that's what squaring means, is you multiply it times itself twice. So here's x plus 3 times x plus 3, and that's what squaring means. So all I did was write it out to make it just a bigger multiplication problem. This is what we were doing on the other page. It is a binomial times a binomial, so you do the exact same thing. It's a double distribution. X times x is your x squared. X times 3 is a positive 3x. That one is done. Now coming with the 3, positive 3 times positive. Positive times positive is a positive answer. 3 times x is 3x. 3 positive times positive is a positive answer, and 3 times 3 is 9, so that is a positive 9. Or you could just put positive 3 times positive 3 in the calculator. The two middle ones, the x's go together. They are like terms. Kind of gets to be kind of a broken record after a while. X squared. We're combining like terms, so 3 somethings plus 3 somethings is 6 somethings. Do not change my somethings. And there's my plus 9 on the end. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 is the same as x plus 3 in parentheses, all being squared. So here's another one. Again, as soon as you immediately think power rule, is this a monomial? No, it is not a monomial, so do not do the power rule. Instead, rewrite it as a multiplication problem. If you're squaring it, that means this thing is being multiplied times itself. So just rewrite it as x minus 5 times x minus 5. You're taking the exact same thing and multiplying it times itself. So now it's really a binomial times a binomial. So go do that. Pause the video, go do it, and then come back and see if you got it right. I'm going to go ahead and do it. X times x is x squared. Make sure if you're multiplying x times x, it is x squared, not x. And then positive times negative is a negative answer. And 5 times x is 5x. And then I have a negative times a positive, which gives me a negative answer. And 5 times x is 5x. Then I have a negative times a negative, which is a positive answer, and 5 times 5 is 25. So if you know your rules of multiplying numbers, if they're both the same signs, it's a positive answer. If they're both different, then it will be a negative answer. And, of course, combine like terms. The 5x's go together, and 5 bad guys and 5 more bad guys give me 10 bad guys, and don't change my somethings. I still have the plus 25 on the end, and I still have my lovely x squared out front. So x squared minus 10x plus 25 is x minus 5 squared. All right, now the next section I want to talk about is the difference in adding and multiplying polynomials, because you're going to start mixing these up. This one is a multiplication problem. This one is an addition problem. How do you know? Look between the parentheses. Do you see anything? No, that's multiplication. Look between the parentheses. Do you see something? Yes, a big old plus sign. This is adding. So as soon as you see it's an adding or subtracting, you should just think combine like terms. I just want to combine like terms. Okay? This one is multiplication, and it's not a monomial times a trinomial or another binomial. It's a binomial. So I've got 2 pieces to distribute to both pieces over here. So binomial times binomial, y'all know how to do that. We've been doing it all day. Addition, remember the addition we did earlier this week? All we need to do to combine like terms is to get rid of the parentheses and then combine like terms. What number is sitting in front of this parentheses? A lovely 1. When I multiply everything by a positive 1, does anything change? No. Multiplying by a positive 1 changes nothing. It's still x minus 7, but the parentheses are gone. What number is in front of this parentheses? Another 1, and it's a positive 1 because we're adding. So 1 times this is still a positive x. 1 times negative 7 is still a negative 7. Nothing changed, but now the parentheses are gone. Now, like terms. 1 something plus 1 something is 2 somethings. -7 and -7, bad guys and more bad guys, is I have a whole lot of bad guys, and they are not like terms, so that's as far as you go. So remember, we did this a lot where we were adding polynomials. Those were adding to binomials, by the way. Now, multiplying binomials, because it's a multiplication problem, it's a double distribution. X times x, exponent rules. X times -7, positive times negative is a negative answer, and 7 times x is 7x. Then come back and do negative times positive is a negative answer, and 7 times x is 7x. And then negative times negative is a positive answer, and 7 times 7 is 49. So again, pause this whenever you want to, go do them, and then come back and check your answers. X's go together. That's going to give me a -14x here. -7 somethings plus another -7 somethings is -14 somethings. So when you're doing combining like terms, don't change the somethings. The exponent rules are only for the multiplication part, plus 49. And none of those are like terms, so that is the answer to that multiplication problem. So here's a problem here, and here's a problem here. Which one's multiplication, which one's addition? Yep, that's the multiplication one. Yep, that's the addition one. So if it's adding, subtracting, you're thinking combine like terms, and I just need to get rid of the parentheses. What number's in front of this parentheses? A 1. When I multiply by a 1, does anything change? No. Multiplying by a positive 1 changes nothing, but the parentheses are gone. If I multiply by a positive 1 over here, does anything change? No. It's still a positive x squared. It's still a positive 2, but now the parentheses are gone. So go combine like terms. Well, there's only one x squared piece, so it's going to stay x squared. There's only one x piece, so that's going to stay plus 3x. But I do have a constant and a constant. And -4 plus 2, bad guys are going to win, and I'm only going to have 2 bad guys left alive. So there is my answer to that addition problem. Here's the same problem, except now it's multiplication. And it's a binomial times a binomial, so I need to do a double distribution with this binomial. First piece times the first piece. Now there's a big 1 in front of the x squared, so this is 3 times 1, and that is 3. X times x squared, add your exponents. That's x to the third, because there's a little 1 sitting there. 3 times 2, and it's positive times positive, so that's a positive 6. And I have an x being multiplied with no more x's, so it's going to stay x. Then we're going to come back and distribute the second part. Negative times a positive number is a negative answer, and 4 times, and there's a big 1 sitting there, and 4 times 1 is 4. And in the calculator, you could put -4 times 1. That's perfectly fine to do that. And then I have x squareds being multiplied in here, but no other x's, so it's going to stay x squared. And then I distribute the negative times the positive, which is a negative answer, and -4 times 2 is indeed a -8. And there are no x's in either of those pieces. That's no x's here, no x's here, so no x's in the answer. And then I look back to see like terms. Third power, squared power, first power, constant, no. Now, you can rearrange it if you want to. Most mathematicians will write it in descending order, but this is also correct. -4x squared plus 6x minus 8. So there's the answer to that multiplication problem. Sometimes you get like terms, sometimes you don't. Which expression is equivalent to this lovely thing here? There's no equal signs. We are just simplifying it. So we want to know which one of these is the simplified version of this. So I look in here to see what I can do. I always start with parentheses because I see a bunch of pluses and minuses in here, so I'm thinking I'm doing a lot of add, subtract. And inside the parentheses, can I add those together? X's and x squareds are not like terms. No. Can I do what's inside? X plus 3? No, not like terms. So how do I get rid of the parentheses? What is right in front of it? This is not right in front of it. We have a plus sign right in front of it. So what number is right here between the plus sign and the parentheses? It is a positive 1. When I distribute this positive 1, is anything going to change? No, it is still positive 4x. It is still minus 6x squared. But the parentheses are now gone. This 2x squared is still sitting out front because I've got this plus sign between them. And positive times positive was a positive, so it's staying that. And then I still have the plus 9 coming along. Now, there's another parentheses here. What is right in front of it? Right there is a 1 between the minus sign and that, so it's a negative 1 that I'm distributing. So when I multiply by a negative 1, this now becomes a negative 6x. And this positive 3 now becomes a negative 3, but the parentheses are gone. Now I just have a whole string of terms, and I'm just combining like terms. I see some squareds here and some squareds there, and I see some x to the first and x to the first here. And then I see some numbers, just plain constants and plain constants. So x squareds and x squareds. 2 minus 6. Negative 4x squareds. They don't change the somethings when you're combining like terms. 2 somethings plus 3 somethings is 5 somethings. X's, positive 4 minus 6. So 4 minus 6 is a negative 2 somethings, and don't change my somethings. So that took care of the squareds and the x's. Now I need the numbers. I have 9 minus 3, which of course is 6. And there you have it. That is the answer to that simplification. So I have a negative 4x squared, and I have a negative 2x plus 6. It looks like that one right there. Bingo. All right. Hope you had fun. We will do some more reviewing on Monday before the test on Tuesday. Bye.